Use the
You're not
code
old, John.
LEMON. Hello, everyone.
You're not old. You're timeless. You're like you're like, Tara, I'm not as young as I look. And I'm like, oh, right.
I'm not as young as I used to be, but Tara is a spring chicken. Let me just say this, Tara, you've been doing the best reporting, that I mean that, because I have you on anytime that we have a story on Epstein. I know that, Tara, the reporting is going to be solid, and that it's going to be great. So Tara Palmeri is here to talk to us about the very latest on what is happening today in Washington and beyond as it relates to these Epstein documents being released. I got to say, Tara, that I have never seen the administration. I take that back. I've only seen the Trump people in this much panic with the grab them by the pee stuff. And that was it.
Oh, yeah. That was a moment.
That was a moment, and I think this is a moment, but they truly are in panic right now. Tara is a veteran journalist, the author of The Red Letter on Substack, and the host of the Tara Palmeri Show right here on YouTube. So what do you think of that, Tara? Good evening. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. And thanks to everyone that I got to meet earlier, the legends. I didn't cover the campaign, the first campaign. I was actually abroad. I was covering Brexit, which was not that dissimilar from the campaign, obviously. That's the populist campaign that swept through America. So I don't know exactly what that fear was like, what that panic was like, but I guess it was a moment that tested his political will, his political might, right? In a way that we had never been tested before until that point. And I think he knows he's pushing the boundaries now too, because this story is tying him to a global pedophilia ring. I don't know how anyone can recover from that. That's the kind of crime where you can't live in a neighborhood because of that. That's the kind of crime where you spend the rest of your life in prison. I mean, this is a serious crime, and the associations with Jeffrey Epstein are incredibly serious. And pedophiles are the lowest of the low in prisons. You know what I mean? Like, they don't usually survive because of that. There is bipartisan hatred of people who prey on the innocent children. And so that is why this is making them quake. You can kind of spin away an obscure idea of, maybe you can spin away collusion, or you can maybe spin away some of the other things that have come up in his, that he's had to handle. And he's been incredibly resilient, but this one continues to dog him. And not just because they're stonewalling and they won't release the files, but because the crime is so dark and deep and the victims are alive and speaking out. And next week they're going to be back on the Hill. So that'll be a really big moment. And I think when they, speak to Trump from the Hill, like they did last time, which I thought was really powerful as that military flyover was taking place, I think that really just shows the power imbalance that we're dealing with right now, where there's one man who can direct his DOJ to do the right thing, and there are 1,000 victims, according to the FBI, who are saying, give us the justice we've never had before. Never had justice. I mean, yeah.
Tara, I'm not asking you to give up anyone's confidence, but I know that you do speak to some of the survivors often, and I'm wondering what their reaction is, if there's anything you can share about that.
They just feel like it keeps getting worse and worse in terms of like the connections between Epstein and Trump, and also just the number of people who continued to spend time with him after he was a convicted, sex offender, and the number of people that continued to message him like he was not a social pariah. I think it upsets them because, at least what I, have from my interactions with them since this has broken, it just shows that the crimes that were committed against them were not really taken seriously by a group of elites. And that's upsetting. You would expect that if someone committed a crime like that they would become a social pariah, but he's being invited to Thanksgiving with Glenn and Eva Dubin, a very powerful hedge funder in Palm Beach, and talking about maybe seeing Trump or, President of the United States at the time. He's giving advice at the highest levels about Trump, actually trying to tell Putin how to play him. What is going on with that? He was a networker and an operator. It didn't slow him down. His conviction, it didn't slow him down at all. Mm-hmm. In some ways, he was even more powerful. I guess people were like, wow, this guy can get away with anything, literally.
Yeah, and look, there's a reason that there are cliches for a reason, right? And usually there's some truth to it. Birds of a feather, right? Flock together. Yeah. That's a cliche, but it quite often is true. But my other question is, so you've been doing tons of reporting on this on your newsletter and on your YouTube program. What are you hearing today? Because yesterday we talked about this panic, the moral panic, the strong arming of the Republicans to try to get them to come over to the other side. What are you hearing today?
Well, I just am hearing from Republicans, they're going on TV and they're saying they're going to vote to release the files. So clearly, Speaker Johnson thought, I'll move up the vote. I won't push this off until December because that's just more time for them to break off and for for him to whip his conference and keep them in line. And the longer they wait for this vote, the more likely that there'll be a lot of defections. I just don't know how you can be a defection. I don't know how you do it at this point. If there are a handful of Republicans that decide that they are going to vote to release the file so far, Greg Stube has said it on TV. He's a congressman from Florida. He's a Republican. You've got Don Bacon. Tim Burchett said it, I think, yesterday. They were going to vote on it. So I would assume that meant that he wanted to vote on to release the files. You're getting into like 10 members, more than that. It gives them cover, gives the rest of them cover. And I don't think they want to go back to their constituents and say, yeah, I was one of the ones that voted against it. And what is Trump going to do? Bully all of them? It also shows that he's losing his grip on the conference. And I wonder if he was in a stronger political position. Like, they didn't have such a shellacking a few weeks ago. And if they weren't suffering under the inflation, and if they weren't suffering with cost of living, or the unpopularity with these ICE raids, I don't know, I could keep going. I wonder if he would have more control over his conference. Yeah.
I'm also wondering too if they're getting wind of what's in these things, or maybe they knew, somebody told them something and they were like, I can no longer afford to defend this just for myself, Tara.
I just think people know. They see the emails and they're like, oh, every day this gets worse and worse. And yeah.
Tara Palmeri, friend of the show, veteran journalist, the author of The Red Letter on Substack. You got to read it if you want anything. And the host of the Tara Palmeri Show right here on YouTube. Thank you. We'll see you soon. Okay, Tara?
Thank you, John.
Appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
That was another episode of the Tara Palmeri Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back again soon. I am just putting out the appearances one after another. It's been a hectic 24 hours. More to come. Can only imagine what next week will be like when there's the vote. But yeah, things are moving. Things are happening. There's going to be another rally. The victims of Jeffrey Epstein will meet with House members next week. It's going to be another moment. So stay tuned. And of course, if you want to support my independent journalism, please go to tarapalmeri.com. That's TARAPALMERI.com. You can sign up for my newsletter, The Red Letter. It's how you support my independent journalism. If you become a paid subscriber, you keep me going. Please, of course, tell your friends about this podcast. Share it, follow, like it, subscribe it, leave a comment. I want to hear from all of you. You're all a part of this community. We are doing this together. I want to thank my producer, Eric Avenate. I want to thank Abby Baker, who is helping me with socials and is a reporter, and Adam Stewart on the graphics. See you again soon.